It's all starting to make sense now, the messages that have been coming through recently, and I am interested to see what comes through today. So if you are new to my channel, in these videos, it's like a stream of consciousness and a mixture of channeling a message as well and seeing what comes through. And then I usually use human experiences to talk about these topics and make them more digestible, or I just give some updates on like life in Portugal with my animals. I have Duchess here. It's a whole combination. So my name is Araya, and that's Arlo and Aslan and Duchess. So in the past video, like the last video, and then also just for a while, it's kind of been in and out, this specific message about like the service to self entity and darkness that has been infiltrating humanity for a while now. And I was reading a bit about what has been happening lately in the world, like just, so much. But specifically like the last few days of when this has been posted. I won't go into the details of anything because I don't think that is necessary or helpful when we're looking at everything from this lens. I think that what I've found, and it's the same thing when you're doing like a conflict resolution with anyone. Sorry, I'm like getting Aslan settled just because this is like dinner time right now. And we've been having a lot of storms here in Portugal, and so we haven't been exercising our normal amount. Also, I wear like the same thing right now in every single video because of my situation that brought me here to Portugal. I came here with like one suitcase of clothes and another suitcase of all my health gadgets, which I can show you guys one day. I know I've talked about it before. Anyway, service to self entities and like looking at, so we're talking about the conflict resolution. And when you're in a conflict resolution with an individual, the best way I've found to resolve a conflict is to like get more of a bird's eye view on it and just remember we're all playing human for this short amount of time, and we're all, imperfect, and we're also easily conditioned. We're all easily conditioned, and we go through different seasons and decisions and everything within our life that at some points lower our vibration and then allow in other thought forms to take over, which aren't even necessarily us and aren't in alignment with our divine self, our higher self. And so, for example, when I would be driving back from work in LA, I would go to work in LA, and I lived in South Orange County. So it would be like 3 hours of driving sometimes when I would go there and back in traffic. And LA traffic, if you know, it's like this whole other experience. People are typically just like very stressed and very much in their head and in survival mode, and like the energy in general in LA, especially after what has been coming out recently, there's a lot of darkness there. There's a lot of need to feel like you're in survival there. A lot of like having to kind of look out for yourself, create yourself, like be something. You have to create something of yourself rather than just being yourself. So I would be driving back in a place that I chose not to live in, and I chose whenever I had the option not be in LA. Orange County is very different. And I would be lower vibration because I did not want to be there. And I wasn't enjoying my job. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And I was, surrounded in an environment that often just lowered my vibration. On my way home, I would be having these thoughts that were not my thoughts. Like I am normally a very positive person. Like my thoughts just default mode to a positive outlook, an optimistic outlook. I've trained my brain to be like this. And so when I would have these thoughts, I would be like, oh my gosh, what are these? And then I would just kind of look around, and I would look in traffic, and I would just look at all these people who are stressed out, crying, just like you could feel and see the overwhelm. And so we're all just picking up these thought forms, these energies, which are enslaving us. They're like enslaving us into and further down into a lower vibration. And then the cycle continues, and the thought forms, get stronger and more and louder. And then if you're not aware of this, you think that it's yourself. You think that these are your thoughts. You think that you need to, maybe medicate and go down that path. And sometimes it just was because there was a moment where you were low, and then the momentum continued, and then these thought forms continued to infiltrate your mind. So that's an example. There's also the example of the Sarah J. Maas books in Throne of Glass, which I've talked about in the last video, where there's this concept of like the Valg, and they are like from another world, and they are coming into this world of these humans and fae, and they are infiltrating these human hosts, and they are taking over the body, and they are pretty much a parasite, and they are using these bodies as a way to, experience Earth, and also to enslave others, to conquer this world for certain reasons. And so when I'm looking into what's happening here on Earth right now, it's no different. And when you look at the Law of One material, it talks about this as well. So the Law of One was channeled in sometime like 1960s. I don't remember, like around then. And it goes into a lot of information that when I dove into it, it just deeply, deeply resonated as truth. There's some things that it's like, there's no way these human channels, like the human forms, those who were channeling, the channel was coming through, could know, because it was like specifics on numbers of like the pyramids and all this stuff. And so they were talking about the difference of service to self and service to others, and how, in order to be harvestable, in order to be compatible for the next layer of ascension, like pretty much we're all just on this journey of ascension through time and space, which are not real, but we came to this realm, to Earth, to help in Earth's next step of ascension, moving into the 5D. And we're also here in our physical forms and our spiritual evolution, going through that on an individual level. And the way that we are able to move into the next layer of ascension, the next phase, the next, 40, 5D, 60, 70, to keep going in that progression, is by being majority service to others. However, there are entities based off this material that are primarily service to self, with the intention to enslave others, similar to the Valg, and to these darker thought forms that infiltrate your mind when you're lower. And so it talks about how even like when the Bible was written, that there's truth, and then there's like some service to self entities that came from other dimensions that infiltrated the minds of those interpreting the stories and whatnot, and depicted them in certain ways that are not fully influenced by the light, is what the material says, and what I resonate with as well. And so when we look at what's been happening in the world and what's coming out into the light right now, it's like people have reached out and they're like, how do we cope with knowing that this darkness lives in the world? Number one, we do not go into fear, because it's the same thing that I was talking about. When you are in that vulnerable state, fear, lack, worry, stress, overwhelm, unworthiness, shame, guilt, all these things, they lower your vibration and they allow for control of these energies, this darkness, this service to self. In the Law of One, it talks about the Orion group and how they are this service to self entity from another dimension doing this kind of control here. So you protect yourself first while this information is coming out right now, because the light is shining on it. Awareness and the light are the same thing, and it's your highest truth, is the awareness and the light that you are. Awareness is being shown, I never know, on the darkness that was living in this world for so long, infiltrating the minds and the human existence for so long, and enslaving others for so long. And now what happens, right? Anytime there is light brought to a situation, anytime there is, the beginning of a quantum shift, there's the light brought to the situation, the awareness brought to the situation, and then the truth comes out, and then there's the chaos, the crumble, the void, and then we go into a new timeline. And so, in a way, because this darkness is being revealed to the world, it is, I don't want to say good because I don't believe in good or bad, but like it is a symbol that this natural progression of moving into a new timeline is happening. And so the light is shone onto the darkness. And now our way to encourage the momentum of the shift going into the direction of the new earth is to remain in light and love and sovereignty, and not in fear or any kind of, lower vibration about this, to hold the vision of the future even when the present seems uncertain. And so that is the most powerful thing that you can do in any situation. Whenever there is chaos, whenever there is overwhelm, whenever there is confusion, whenever you feel fear, tap into the timeline that you wish to be living in. Become the world that you want to live in. Embody the frequency of that world. This new earth concept is talking about moving into the 5D. The 5D is the heart space that is living from unconditional love and infinite abundance. Is remembering the truth of who you are. It's where your soul lives, the home of your soul. And so there's no fear when you remember that you are an infinite being. There is no fear when you remember that this is a temporary experience, and that, yes, I feel that there are these darker forces. This is a natural part of creation, is to have this contrast, this duality, and to have this experience of the service to self versus service to others. If there wasn't the contrast, then there wouldn't be creation, there wouldn't be experience, there would just be bright white light, the infiniteness that you are. But you came here to have a human experience. You came here to be a part of this ascension process on earth and to help in this ascension process. And you are your strongest when you are in your most remembrance. You are your strongest when you remember the truth of who you are. You are in service to others when you stay in alignment with the truth of who you are. You are in service to others when you follow your joy and follow your curiosity. But if you get into the mindset that it's like, all this stuff is happening in the world, all this darkness, everyone's feeling this way, and like you convince yourself, you allow that thought form to infiltrate, to tell you that you have to go low to that in order to connect with others, that's when you start moving out of alignment. But it's a natural part of being human, because in our primal makeup and design, we had to be a part of the tribe in order to survive. That was how we were before all this modern world was created. And if you were extracted from the tribe, if you no longer were a part of the tribe, you would die. Like, you would be out in the wilderness on your own, and you probably wouldn't survive very long. And so it's in our instinct to be one with the tribe, to go along the same path with the tribe. When people are feeling, all this rioting and protesting, and if that's in alignment with you and that's your joy and your curiosity, do that. But I think the best way that you can make a difference in what is happening right now is fill your heart and your mind with so much love and so much acceptance, and continue doing what brings you joy and what sparks your curiosity. And share that with the world. Be that light for other people. Be that safe place for other people. People will be like, I just feel so much better when I'm around you. I just feel so much better when I watch your video. I just feel so much better when we have a phone call. That is how you change the world. And it's not just about that. Like, it is. Like, a lot of you feel like that's your number one calling. You want to make a difference in the world. But it's not selfish to say that you want to make a difference in your life. You want to feel that peace yourself. And you can. Yeah, there's darkness in the world. Yeah, shit's fucked up. But we're moving in the right direction. And this has to happen. Do we just want all this to be silenced and not true? And like, that doesn't help. Denial doesn't help. We have to bring everything to the light in order to move forward. The truth sets us free. And of course, protect yourself. I think that's coming through loud right now, is really protect yourself. Understand that your free will is the most powerful and definite thing that you have. I think I was really blessed to be raised with my mom as a spiritual healer and her community of psychics and mediums and everything, who taught me about this from a young age. So your free will is so powerful. And whenever you feel like a darker energy, a darker thought form, you can say, I command that any energy that is not for my highest good be cleared now, sent into God's light. Thank you, and so it is. People have talked about, the sleep paralysis, when they feel like they wake up and there's like a being almost like paralyzing them and holding them. And they, have gone to all these different exorcism type people and whatnot. What I was always taught with that is to command that energy be gone, to command that you are protected, and that you are cleared, and that you are free. Thank you, and so it is. Across all time, dimension, space, planes, and reality. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Call upon Jesus. If you feel like you have a strong relationship with Jesus, say, Jesus, protect me. I have Christian friends who, one of my good friends, she did a mushroom ceremony on her own. And she wanted to, I don't know if it would even be called a ceremony. She wanted to see what it was all about. She asked me to be there with her. And so I sat with her while she had the intention of going deep into her own darkest things that were holding her back. And it brought her to some really scary places that she had not confronted yet. And she was like living them out. And so she was calling upon Jesus the whole time. Jesus, 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 Jesus. And that association for her is love. That association for her is protection. And so whatever you have to do that and believe that that is powerful and that you are protected. And then move forward in the light, move forward in the clarity, move forward with your knowing that we are headed towards something really beautiful on earth, that things are falling apart in order for us to rebuild. And how exciting is the rebuild phase, and how creative is the rebuild phase. And we get to open up to these divine messages. Like the way that these messages have been coming in recently, they blow my mind. It blows my mind how in the last video, this, which I hope is working right now, this microphone just stopped working in the middle of the video. Never had that happen before. And I had to erase the first video and the whole concept of that, and let go of the attachment of trying to recreate it, because I don't even usually remember what I talk about in these. And then I gave a new message, which was just touching on this topic of this darkness infiltrating the mind and the human form. And so it's like, as you continue to clear these thought forms, these service to self energies from your field, your mind, your field, your reality, you then just have to, like we talked about last time, retrain your body, your mind on how it is to live without that now. There's going to be all this space. There's going to be this void within your being as you continue to go deeper and clearer and clearer and clear the guilt, the shame, the worry, the fear, the doubt, the unworthiness. As you clear and clear and clear all those illusions of truth, there's all this space, this malleable space waiting to be programmed and directed and rewired to what it is that you truly desire. So that's why I love Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, my program, which does reprogramming the subconscious mind with your own voice. And that is such a key part, because it allows you to start recreating those thought patterns, those neural pathways, and firing together new neurons, and also for your brain to start seeing where it's in its own way. What I realized when I was doing hypnosis, or I had just done a hypnosis with somebody online, and I was like, yeah, this is great. But I got the download that their intention is great and they are leading us through this meditation. However, your voice is as unique as your fingerprint. Your voice carries so much about you. As you change and you grow and you evolve and you move through all the darkness and whatnot, your voice changes, your appearance changes, all this stuff changes. So when we're listening to other people's voices while we're in something so vulnerable as our sleep, we have the potential of taking on whatever darkness they haven't faced, is what my download was. And so I was like, let's try this with my own voice. And when I started doing it, immediately my whole life changed. And I was able to see clearly what was in my way, what icky little thoughts about me having to play small in order to be loved, and me having to watch other people live my dreams while I sat in the back seat. I had to, go into that place. I got to go into that place and then see, and then bring light to those, and then redirect those with consistency of listening to the Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis. I was able to redirect those thoughts, and it changed my whole life. Here in Portugal now, instead of living in a broken down van in a hay barn on an island. But everything serves its purpose. And so retraining your life to align with the joy, the curiosity, and the heart-led life that you want to live. I'm really enjoying reading 10x is better than 2x right now, because it's a very logical perspective on a very spiritual topic, which is allowing this abundance to flow into your life while you essentially do less. And you essentially get to, open the door and create systems for abundance to flow into your life, but you get to focus more on the things that you're filled with joy about, that are strong suits for you, and you get to delegate and whatnot and build systems around things that don't bring you joy. And so ultimately you are creating a life that just feels really good to you and allows a bunch of freedom. It talks a lot about freedom and abundance to flow into your life. And so that feels very much in alignment with the new earth. That feels very much in alignment with where we're headed. And so I would just say, as a parting little message right here, don't let the chaos of what's happening in the world and the weather and all this stuff right now fill you with fear, or fill you with doubt, or allow these, energies and entities to infiltrate your mind in a way that doesn't serve you for your highest good. You are a very powerful, infinite being, and you can have everything that you've ever desired. And this is the beginning of the reason why you came to Earth. I feel this is the call being answered by all of us who got that call, come to Earth and help in this shift of consciousness into the new Earth. We're here right now, and it's a beautiful time, and it's time to serve by holding that truth in your heart and embodying the world that you wish to live in. So, with all that being said, I'm going to answer my call from my brother. And if you guys want to sign up for Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, it is linked below, as well as my other 21-day programs. And if you want to follow Nove on Instagram, that is how you enter to get a year free. So I will pick 5 people once the app is live. And so the app is the method of Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, but 10x. And it's going to be so powerful. It is so powerful. I'm so excited about it. So once the app is live, I will pick 5 of the followers from the Instagram Nove Method, Nove Method. I think that's it. If you want to support this channel, seriously, thank you guys so much for doing this, because it has been making such a difference. Please like this video. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. I'm so grateful to have each and every one of you here. I read all of your comments, so that's the other thing. You can leave a comment. It's super, super helpful. If you just want to tell me where you are in the world, what is the weather like for you right now? Because we're still having crazy storms here in Portugal. So yeah, let me know, what is your little corner of the world looking like and feeling like right now? And if you don't know what to say, you can leave a wolf emoji. We love wolves here. Very significant to the energy of this channel. With all that being said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.